What will the impacts of AI and robotics be?
X risk, right? He brought up extinction risk.
AI and robotics will bring about
It's all these problems all at once. It's not just one or two problems. It's environmental, existential.
the most rapid societal transformation in human history.
The pro AI people, the cynics, the skeptics, they're gonna throw this right into the cuckoo bucket.
And another question I think that we obviously should be asking is, what will the impacts of AI and robotics be on our society? How is it going to impact us? Pretty obvious question. In my view, and according to the people who have studied this issue extensively, including Nobel Prize winners, AI and robotics will bring about the most rapid societal transformation in human history. Let me repeat. AI and robotics will bring about the most rapid societal transformation in human history. Among other things, AI and robotics will transform our economy with massive job displacement. It will impact our emotional well-being and how we relate to each other as human beings. It will lead to a massive invasion of privacy. It will threaten our democratic institutions and will bring severe harm to our environment. Further, and frighteningly, some very knowledgeable people fear that what was once seen as science fiction could soon become a reality. And that is that superintelligent AI could become smarter than humans, could become independent of human control, and pose an existential threat to the human race.
He said the thing. He said the thing, right? He brought up X risk, right? He brought up extinction risk, existential risk, right? The pro AI people, the cynics, the skeptics, they're gonna throw this right into the cuckoo bucket. And now look, I think being skeptical is important. I've said this before. I'm skeptical. I am not totally convinced superintelligence is necessarily achievable, at least not by the methods we're using. I don't know, right? I'm not a tech person. But I think like Bernie, as a layman, concerned about the issue, when there are very intelligent people on all sides of the discussion saying the same thing, the detractors and the accelerationists, the people trying to build the thing on purpose, my ears perk up and I listen because I don't know, right? So you could say, oh, well, it's not going to happen for all the X, Y, and Z reasons. I don't care. I want to prepare and do something about it, right? Because of the people trying to build it, the amount of capital going into it, and what I've already seen. I have seen social media help, but also hurt the world in massive ways. And it's the same kinds of people building this, trying to take it further, right? Social media was a baby form of AI. It used social media, these algorithms. This is way beyond. So I fear the capacity, right? So then you're going to have other people that are going to be like, oh, well, you're just focusing on the bad stuff. You need to have a more balanced view of it. You're totally right. Here's the thing, though. There's way more accelerationist content out there than there is safety content. Like, full stop. The benefits are obvious. You could sit down and use ChatGPT for 5 minutes and you can see how transformative and beneficial it can be, right? You don't need much convincing to do that. But convincing people of deeper fears that are not yet real, or are not apparent to them is a much harder endeavor. And so I would rather be worried and take the side of precaution than rush ahead. And so you can give me all the reasons why it's going to go well, but I think there's precedent for it going poorly. And we're seeing some of that stuff already. So I don't see the harm in trying to be more safe than sorry. That's what this is all about. So again, before we jump right back in, one of the things they pointed out is all these it's all these problems all at once. It's not just one or two problems. It's environmental, existential, in terms of your privacy, economic, all this stuff. That's the G, man. That's the G in AGI. That's the golden goose. That's the ticket, right? It's not just going to disrupt one or two things. That's what makes AI and this concept of AGI different. It's going to affect everything, right? It's everything. It's got its fucking tentacles in every domain, every piece of the workforce. It's hitting it at all angles and dimensions. That is the most fundamental difference. And why job displacement is going to be so crazy, because it's not just one or two kinds of work or industries. It's damn near everything, right? That is very important to understand. And then you compound that with the speed. If we don't do something, we're going to be in a really bad situation. So it's not about focusing on all the bad stuff. The good stuff is pretty clear. And there's plenty of people talking about the good stuff. There need to be people talking about the bad stuff. And we should measure twice and cut once, right? Instead of cut a jillion times and then think that we can fix the world after the fact.
And pose an existential threat to the human race. In other words, this is what they used to make science fiction movies about. But some of the most knowledgeable people on Earth, including people who have helped develop this technology, actually believe human beings could lose control over the planet to artificial intelligence. Question number 4. What happens?
Just quickly, science fiction's role is very interesting here. Because on one hand, it has a lot of different pieces. Because on one hand, like especially when I look at YouTube comments, people are like, "Oh man, we've seen this movie coming before. Why aren't we doing anything about it? Like this is gonna end badly." That's number one, right? People reference The Matrix, iRobot, Terminator, right? And that's very interesting, right? We already, for a lot of people, it's obvious. It's like we already have these cautionary tales, right? And so for a lot of people, it's like, why are we doing this? We've already seen this in books and movies and yada yada yada. And on the other hand, it's like other people will use sci-fi to say, yeah, but that's all fantasy, dude. So because it's fantasy and I've seen this fantasy stuff before, people like him are allowing sci-fi to invade the way that they're looking at this. And so that it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're allowing yourself to succumb to sci-fi. So it kind of hits it at another angle. But here's the other interesting part about the sci-fi thing that I think a lot of people miss, because a lot of people do use it to like dismiss criticisms. But it's like you have to understand, especially people like Elon, who's a fucking nerd, right? These people are nerds. They're trying to build things on purpose that remind them of science fiction. So science fiction, I think, is literally writing the story in a lot of ways, right? Like, where does the idea of really building humanoid robots come from? And where do a lot of their designs come from? I would argue it probably comes from a lot of movies. Where does a lot of the stuff that the names come from, the companies, the things that they build, Elon building the Cybertruck, like that looks like something out of a fucking video game, right? Like science fiction is very literally, in my opinion, shaping the way that these people think and envision what they want to make reality. So a lot of the people that think like science fiction is just science fiction, is like, no, science fiction is building the world vicariously through these people, and some of it is coming true. And it is their goal to make some of that reality. So whether or not that's achievable, I actually think science fiction in a lot of ways is very, very important here for for better or for worse. So what up, y'all? This is Zane the Gambit. Thank you so much for watching this clip on Zane's Zone Unlimited. This is just a clip of a larger video, so if you liked what you saw, please tap the end screen or the video in the description link and watch the full thing. Like, subscribe, comment. I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much. I'm out.